you guys? It's Coffee with Shanna CWS this morning. Hey, I want to help you manage your mind this morning. So I get messages on Instagram and on Facebook all the time about people asking me what's their next move, or, someone in my family has got terminal illness, and I can hear my son coming up, and just kind of the life situations that come up that we have to face when we're trying to grow a business. And come here, bud. Hi. Hi, you got up. What's in your hand? Oh, he's cute. You want to do coffee with Shanda with me? You want to say good morning? Want to say good morning? No, not yet. Okay, I'm going to keep...
Why did you do that?
What do you mean, why did I do what?
Why did you put that box there?
Oh, because that's for you to open.
Now?
As soon as I'm done coffee with Shanda.
Huh.
Okay?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
My car broken.
Oh, yeah, go fix it. It's okay, he's going to fix his car.
But you only had to open one box in that big one. Then I had to open the other one tomorrow.
Okay, you can open it tomorrow.
The other one tomorrow.
It's okay, Lori. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. You could grab him though. Okay. Here we go. Try this again. So this is what I love about lives is that it like completely is real for what's happening in the moment. Okay, but you can actually open up two. You got yesterday and today. He's got a Lego. My good friend Deidre bought Zach a calendar where it's Lego. So you know how back in the day it used to be chocolate that you opened up every day in December till Christmas? Now it's Lego.
I didn't open two.
You guys can go in your room.
Let's open two.
Do you want to go downstairs? Do you want to go in my room?
Let's open two.
You want to
Okay.
go in my room or you can go downstairs?
Okay.
Go downstairs.
Chloe's sleeping down there too. My house is filled with people. Okay. Okay, let me get back on track. So I was inspired to talk to you about managing your mind. So even like that just happened back in the day when I was starting my business, because I had so much drive and energy and being professional and doing it right and doing the best live, and every live mattered because every live made a difference on whether or not someone was going to follow me or maybe buy from me later. And I was all caught up in the intensity of growing a business. And so if anything imperfect happened, like what just happened there, which is imperfectly perfect, where my son comes up and like, I'm not going to say disrupts the live, but you know what I'm saying, like just comes up and wasn't planned to be in the live, and we're starting like a couple minutes later as he's been in the space, he's been in the kitchen. And so it would have just really thrown me for a loop. Same with when I would send out emails and the link would be wrong in the emails, or when I hired somebody like a virtual assistant and the virtual assistant wasn't very good, but I was afraid to like let the virtual assistant go because, I had nobody to help me with my business or do any of the tech work. And so all these things are intensity. And I hear every variation from the breakdowns that are unavoidable life situations to the other side where people are like, they're saying things to me, for instance, like somebody's messaging me on Instagram that her husband is terminally ill. And I said to her, are you reading the Bible? And she said, no. And so she goes, but he's terminally ill. And I'm saying, I get it. But like, I was just with somebody on Sunday where I was listening to him talk at our church. And not only did he cure himself of a life-threatening illness that was incurable, but he also had somebody who went from completely being blind to being able to see, and somebody else who was in a back brace with like all the way from his neck all the way down to his waist, and was not able to like really walk at all. His back was just completely degenerated. And then through prayer and through all of that, and through the sermon, he actually stood there and preached and kept his hand on this guy. And all of a sudden you heard pop, pop, pop. And this guy literally stood up and took his back brace off. And so I don't know what your belief is, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is that these things are happening on the planet right now. These things are actually happening. And so, I'm getting these messages. I'm like, are you reading the Bible? Are you checking to see what the Bible is saying about your illness or your husband's illness? And, and it just reminds me, like I go from that message to another message of somebody saying, like, I feel like the most important relationship I have is with Christ right now. This woman's saying to me, and she goes, so now she's in an either or conversation about her business. And I'm like, gosh, like everybody needs to just calm down. Like, just like, it's not supposed to be this intense. Your job is to be grateful for the things that are in your space that you once prayed for. That relationship that now you're struggling with, that you once prayed for, and now you're figuring out how to be a good partner, or that maybe you were diagnosed with high blood sugar and now you're intermittent fasting, and maybe you don't like intermittent fasting, and so you're trying to make that a part of your lifestyle, or you get it, or you've got a drive to grow a business and you're like, will this like sales thing ever come together? And it's like, listen, you guys, like we're on the 9th year of this company, and I spent many years before starting Heartcore in the nightclub industry, in the real estate industry, as a restaurant host for Wolfgang Puck, and I spent all this time prepping myself for the moment that I started this company. And the first 2 years sucked. It completely sucked. The first year I was non-committal on whether or not I really wanted to do this or not, if I really wanted to leave my job, and I had a great job, and if I could actually do it, even if I wanted to do it. And I was in that confusion moment. And so I know you might be in a confusion moment. Some people watching right now are in a moment that you're like, if I could just figure out this one thing, then everything would be great. I'm saying it's actually how you walk through that one thing. It's not, because as soon as you solve a problem, you just trade it in for another problem. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I actually mean that in a positive way. Like you're blessed with the problem you have, because it means that you went to another level, and so there's a new problem. And every time we solve a problem, can you hear me right now? Do you understand what I'm saying? Every time we solve a problem, a new problem arises. A college student decides to move out of mom and dad's house, and, all of a sudden they have a problem of figuring out their finances. But they have their independence. They can decorate their apartment any which way they want, but now they don't have the money to decorate the apartment. So figure it out. Go work 2 jobs if you have to around your school. And people are like, no, they got to focus on school. Why don't we just get out of the way? Why don't we just get out of the way? Why don't we stop controlling what other people need to do? Stop controlling what you need to do. Stop being in this intensity, because it's the intensity that kills your dreams. It's the intensity that makes you miserable. It's not your careers. It's not your spouses. It's not your weight. It's not any of that makes you miserable. The thing that actually makes you miserable is the thing that you're contending with, which is your emotional triggers and your control, your intensity. So intensity is great for people who are way laid back, and they're like, you know what, I'm kind of going to go with the flow and see what happens. And it's like, okay, maybe you need a little bit of a pep in your step. Maybe you need a little bit of motivation. Maybe you need a little bit of the book Relentless, right? But most of us that I see inside of our community, they're uber driven. Most people who follow me are uber driven. And that uber drive can really cause us to think that the one struggle that we're facing with right now, if we could just solve that, everything would come true. And that is the lie of what we call, as Christians, call the enemy, right? That is the lie of, spiritual people call their ego, unless you're the other edge of the spiritual people that say your ego is not bad. So it's like, I'm trying to fit this into your context so that you can hear it. It's like, the struggle is real. And it's a good thing if you have it, because it means you're still breathing. It's a good thing that you have it, because it means that you're going to the next level. And if you keep struggling with the same struggle for years after years, I'm going to tell you it's because you haven't focused on that one thing to solve it, and you focused on too many things, and you've spread yourself too thin. Because here's what I know about you. Here's what I know about the fact of us humans. We are resourceful, and we have the ability to think. which many other people on this, not people, but animals on this planet, there's many of them that don't have the same ability to think like us. My dog does. My Labradoodle is probably smarter than me. But other than that, we have this ability to think. And when we actually get intimate with the struggle, and if we can just, it's like my friend's child had cancer, and they literally spent time loving the cancer. And they changed the whole parameter in their house to love the cancer. And I would say whether that works or doesn't work or whatever your opinion is, it doesn't matter. What matters is that they walk through that journey differently than if they would have had resent and hate. So in an area of your life right now that maybe you have resentfulness that's just tearing something apart in your life. Maybe it's tearing a friendship apart. Maybe it's tearing, a love relationship apart, or a family member, or even resent against your business, right? If you've got resent, you are being lied to, because that resent is not real. I get so many great messages on Instagram and Facebook. And another woman had messaged me on Instagram after me sharing the story about really working on my marriage with my husband. And by the way, we're in like the best place we have ever been in. It's so incredible. But somebody shared a story with me that she realized that when she felt very disconnected from her husband, that she had an entitled mindset. And the entitled mindset was that her husband was doing a lot of things in their family, and that he should. That's his job. And she was like, wow, how entitled. And I was like, I was listening to her, and I said, yeah, I've had thoughts like that around my husband and parenting. It's like, my husband's a great dad, and he just puts in a lot. Like yesterday morning, the three of us were kicking the ball out front, and that's my husband's commitment to, empower his son around soccer. And, every couple minutes he was like, that's my boy, look at that kick. And he's like, he's a great dad. And so, but then I had this thought where I thought to myself, well, he should be. I mean, that's what you do. If you're a dad, you should do that. And that's an entitled thought. And so I just invite you to look at and take your power back and look at the areas in your life that you're either giving your power away, or you're still giving your power away if you're feeling resentful and thinking that something needs to change around you. I'm going to tell you something. Money is very easy to make. It's very easy to make. It is not a hard formula. In fact, you can make tons of money without even knowing your message. You can make tons of money without even knowing what product you're going to sell yet. You don't even have to figure out your product. You can sell somebody else's product and make a ton of money, as long as you have a buyer's list versus a followers. I can grow my Instagram account right now, you guys. I can grow our Instagram account to 100,000 people like that, with not buying followers, not any of that. But there's a whole network that does that out there, right? And I can pay for posts. I can do a lot of things to be able to grow my followers. I don't want followers. I want people that are tuning in not because of the free stuff I'm giving away, but because they want to build a business, because they want to get a promotion in their career, because they want to leave a legacy on this planet. And what I say matters to them. And is it noise? We don't need more noise on the planet. What we need is to tune into the people that are helping us influence our mind, because it's all about our mind, to take it to the next level. We have to get out of our own way. So I just invite you to look at the areas right now that maybe you have contention with your parents. Maybe you have contention with a job that you're in. Maybe you have contention with your business. Maybe you have contention with your spouse, or maybe you have contention about the fact that you still haven't found the love of your life, because honestly, if you look at it, you've been too busy, or you've been too controlling, or you've literally said you were committed, but every time you get a guy that doesn't look like he's 6'4", or a woman that doesn't look like she's a size 2, you just write them off as that's not it, because that's how you've been looking through the lens of being superficial. And I know I'm being bold right now, and I know I'm like hitting some triggers, but what I'm trying to do is say that we really can have what we want on this planet. We really can. I went from the girl in Starbucks that knew nothing about how to grow a digital marketing company, and every day I let myself down, and every day I didn't get anything accomplished. But you know what? I never tracked my time. I never committed that in the next hour of my life, I'm going to contact 7 people and see if I can help them. I never committed like that, because if I committed like that, that actually meant that I was going to track my success. And see, I wasn't ready for that yet, because what I was still doing is I was still in the resentment of failure. So some of you guys know that this year, what I did was I committed to failing 19 times. I did not hit 19 times, sliding into home base of 2019. Isn't that insane? So I didn't hit 19 failures this year. I hit 10 really good ones. Some of them were expensive. Some of them were I underperformed. Some of them I didn't move quick enough to hire people inside the company or move people out. Some of them I made decisions that just didn't pan out. Tried offers that didn't work. Some of them put me in a low profit margin for the year, or for a few months, where it's scary when your cash flow isn't where it needs to be, when your expenses are extraordinarily high. I know that some of you guys have experienced that or are experiencing that right now. I experienced all of that this year, and I experienced disconnection in my marriage on top of all of that, right? And the pain of having a miscarriage, so it's like I've experienced all of that this year. And I don't stand in front of you like this tough girl. That's not what I'm trying to stand in front of you. I'm saying that I experienced all of that because I made an effort. I experienced all of that because I tried and I put myself out there. I experienced all of that because I was up to something this year. And what changed this year over other years is that I walk through each of those moments better than I ever have. I walked through those moments without temper tantrums. I worked through those moments without confusion. That horrible, horrible thing that we put ourselves when we actually allow ourselves to stay in confusion and then sit in it and then talk about it over and over and over again so that we just strengthen that. I didn't do that this year because I made a commitment to fail. And through that commitment to fail, we massively grew the company. We massively grew our wisdom. We massively set ourselves up for next year for a much better year. And my marriage is amazing. My health is incredible. In fact, I'm going to F45 workout as soon as I turn this off. I couldn't be happier than I am right now, other than to find out that I have twins, which I'm not saying I do, but that would be the only thing that would make me feel like, holy cow, if I found out I had twins and that they stuck and I got to carry them all the way to term. Like, that would be the only thing that would be like the cherry on the cake, because this year's been that extraordinary. And so if you think about all the things that went wrong this year, and then you put a new lens on and realize how I walked through that was different because I made a commitment to fail. And so is this helping you at all? Is this resonating with you? Because I want to challenge you to look at, even between now and the next 30 days, what could you really put yourself out there to fail in? Like what could you make a commitment to fail that maybe would unleash you to play a little bigger, to have a little less intensity, to laugh your way through the next finish line, no matter what is imperfect, to get out of confusion, to not allow yourself to feel stuck and be stuck. Because all of that is just a mental game. Because the truth is that none of us are stuck. Even if you're in an abusive relationship, there is help out there. Even if you are in an addiction, there is help out there. Even if your marriage is about to go into divorce, there is help out there. There's devotionals, there is the church, there is prayer. Even if you need to make money, I am here. You know what I mean? There's help out there, and there's hundreds of other people out there that can help. There's help. And then the next thought is always, but I can't pay for it, or that I can't. And I'm like, you gotta learn how to get out of that stuck thought process that is a pattern that keeps you non-resilient, keeps you stuck, keeps you, not being resourceful. It's when you shift and go, I know there's a way. I know there's a way. I knew there was a way when I couldn't walk and my back was sore. And literally, I had 3 doctors tell me that I was going to need back surgery. I knew there was a doctor that could solve it. I knew there was a doctor that believed that, I could be healthy without certain medications. I knew, when you say things like I know there's a way, or I know there's someone, what happens is you attract that person in. It's like your brain tracks it. Now, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I've heard and learned, a decent amount about what happens when we start to track, right? Or it's no different than when you want a new car, you see it everywhere. I mean, you've got proof all around you that if you've got your mind right, like my friend Todd Durkin says, if you've got your mind right, that everything else would fall into place. And so don't be the person that's so stubborn today that you're not going to get your mind right around something that you're possibly being right about, somebody else being wrong, or right about the fact that you need this one thing to unleash. It's like, no, you don't. Because once you solve this problem, you're going to have another one. And I know you know that, but still the words that you're putting on your struggle are the thing that's causing you to stay stuck. And I'm hoping that this coffee with Shanda is something that you share. It's something that you use. It's something that you really take into your day and change whatever it is that you're struggling with today so that you can unleash yourself. Christmas is my favorite time of year. And yes, it's Christmas to me. So no, I'm not disrespecting anybody. I understand everybody else's holidays, but I'm just being in my moment right now and saying, Christmas is like my favorite time of year. The holidays are my favorite time of year. And I can't imagine going into the holidays, whether when I was broke and had nothing and my house was going into foreclosure and I was single and no family like near me. I can't imagine ever walking into Christmas with a feeling of lostness or depression. And I think and I've had anxiety, I've had panic attacks, I've had all those things, but I've never slid into Christmas with that energy or that way of being. Why? Because it's more important to me to have a good Christmas than it is for me to feel any of that shit. And so when you start to get that concept and you realize, I can do it there, why can't I do it here? I can raise good children, which is a relationship. Maybe I could have a great relationship with another human being, a lover. I can, run a marathon and I'm pretty good at it. Maybe I'm mentally strong enough to grow a business. Or I have a terminal illness. Maybe someone like Rex Crane healed himself with scripture and prayer. Maybe there's something to it. By the way, the blind person that healed her sight 100% that he prayed with twice. First time he prayed with her, she saw little lines and she didn't settle. And this is for all you guys who are coaching with someone right now. Maybe you're not getting the results that you want. This woman asked Rex to pray over her, and so he did. She was completely blind. He said, why do you want to see? And she said, well, because I don't make a good blind person. Like she just was straight up about it. No wishy-washy. I just don't make a good blind person. He said to her, okay, so he starts to pray over her. And she's like, no, Rex, it's not like I'm not seeing, I can see little lines. I can see little white, but like, this isn't a complete healing. And she stopped and she took responsibility and she looked at him, or didn't look at him, but she was facing him. And she said, I can't see yet. I saw something, but I can't see yet. Come at me again. Pray over me again. And what she realized is something, and by the way, this is not a believer. This is not somebody who believes at all. She was not a believer. But she was open enough to have faith that maybe this would work. And the Bible says that God will meet us at the level of our faith. That's an aha moment for some people around what you're believing and what you really believe is possible. So she wasn't a believer in God. She wasn't a believer in the Bible. But what she was somebody open to have faith. And so she had faith that maybe there was something that this guy knew about scripture that was going to work. And he went and he prayed over her again, and her eyesight came back. What's insane is that they walked back into a room where her friend who was blind, she was freaking out. You could imagine how much she'd be freaking out, that she could actually see. And she's like, look at me, I can see. And the other woman wouldn't have anything with it. She wouldn't believe it. She literally wouldn't believe it. She just kept saying, Rex kept saying, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? And she was like, no, I can't. It's impossible. And there's some people right now that are watching this that you're saying this around your finances. You're saying this around your marriage. You're saying this around your healing. You're saying this around something that means a lot to you right now. I'm going to tell you, I have never been able to create anything in my life that either I didn't let go of and allowed the intensity to let go and stayed committed. And then the flip side is that you can out-talk the devil. And what I mean by that is like, you don't have to be 100% believer, but you do have to have faith. And when you have faith that possibly there's somebody out there that can help you, possibly there's a way that you can find the money. I'm telling you, you can find 50 ways to find the money right now for anything that you want. The thing is will you sit down and write out 50 ways? I'll leave it at that, you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Please let me know what stood out for you on this Coffee with Shanda. I read all the comments. I read all my direct messages. And take a moment. Just take a moment and send this live to someone who needs to hear it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to 7 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. Bye.